Has NASA seen something that they don't want us to know? Recently, NASA shocked viewers by dropping a bombshell about our moon that left scientists speechless. What did their latest scans reveal hidden beneath the lunar surface? The truth about what's up there might change everything we thought we knew. The shocking press conference that started it all. The science world is still reeling after what happened last month. During what should have been a routine NASA press briefing about the Artemis moon program, renowned physicist Michio Kaku stunned everyone present. Normally composed and methodical, Kaku appeared visibly uncomfortable when asked about recent lunar scans. His usual confidence vanished as he carefully chose his words, telling reporters that certain findings require further investigation before public discussion. The room fell silent. NASA officials quickly redirected the conversation, but the damage was done. Leaked footage shows Kaku being escorted from the stage by agency representatives after attempting to elaborate on a question about structural anomalies detected beneath the lunar surface. What exactly did he see in that data? Former NASA engineer Thomas Mitchell, who resigned from the agency last year, raised eyebrows when he tweeted that Kaku's reaction was entirely appropriate given what was found. The tweet was deleted within hours, but screenshots have circulated widely online. Science communicators who have worked with Kaku for decades noted his abrupt cancellation of several scheduled TV appearances following the press conference, with one producer anonymously stating that Kaku cited personal obligations to review sensitive material as his reason for backing out. When Kaku finally reappeared 2 weeks later on a science podcast, listeners noticed he avoided all moon-related questions, despite the host's repeated attempts to address the topic. No one expected what happened that Tuesday morning at NASA headquarters. Michio Kaku, the famous physicist we've seen smiling on TV shows for years, walked into the room looking pale and tired. Reporters noticed right away something was wrong. This wasn't the calm, confident Kaku they knew. When questions turned to recent moon scans, the room temperature seemed to drop. Kaku's hands trembled slightly as he shuffled his notes. NASA officials exchanged worried glances. Instead of his usual clear explanations, Kaku gave short, careful answers, avoiding details about what the lunar orbiter had discovered. The real shock came when a reporter asked about strange patterns detected beneath the lunar surface. Kaku froze. For 17 uncomfortable seconds, he stared at his papers before a NASA official stepped in. Minutes later, Kaku was escorted from the stage mid-question. Videos of this moment spread online immediately. Body language experts pointed out his unusual behavior, noting his physical signs of stress. 3 scheduled TV appearances were cancelled that week. When he finally reappeared in public days later, everyone noticed he wouldn't answer any moon questions, changing the subject whenever it came up. The strange lunar density readings that can't be explained. NASA's latest generation of lunar mapping satellites has revealed something that defies conventional scientific understanding. Using advanced density scanning technology, the orbiter detected massive concentrations below the lunar surface that don't match any known natural formation. These aren't small anomalies. We're talking about readings 5 times denser than the surrounding moon rock, concentrated in eerily regular patterns beneath the Shackleton crater near the South Pole. When the data was first processed, scientists assumed equipment malfunction. 3 separate calibrations later, the readings remained unchanged. The density signature doesn't match metallic asteroid remnants, volcanic formations, or any other natural lunar feature documented over decades of moon research. Most concerning to researchers was the discovery that these density clusters appear to be arranged in geometric configurations that statistical analysis placed well outside the probability range for natural formation. The scientific team assigned to analyze the data requested additional scans from different orbital positions, only to find the exact same patterns repeated with perfect precision. Michio Kaku was among the first civilian scientists granted access to this data, and sources claim he spent 3 full days reviewing the findings before his public appearance. Particularly troubling to researchers was the discovery that the formations appear to change positions slightly over time, something that should be impossible for geological features. The scientific paper documenting these movements was scheduled for publication in a prestigious journal, but was mysteriously withdrawn without explanation. Several team members involved in the density analysis have gone completely silent on social media, with one researcher removing all professional affiliations from their online profiles. NASA's newest moon satellites found something that has scientists scratching their heads. The machines detected spots under the moon's surface that are incredibly dense, 5 times heavier than the moon rock around them. At first, everyone thought the equipment was broken. They checked everything 3 times. The readings stayed the same. These dense patches sit about 18 miles below the Shackleton crater near the moon's south pole. What makes scientists nervous isn't just how dense these spots are, but how they're arranged. The patterns form perfect geometric shapes, straight lines, exact angles, and precise circles. Nature doesn't usually work this way. Even stranger, when they scanned again weeks later, these dense areas had slightly moved while keeping their perfect shapes. Scientists first thought these might be leftover chunks from asteroid hits or old lava flows. But the material doesn't match either explanation. It's too dense, too perfectly arranged, and it shouldn't be moving at all. The research team that found this asked for more scans from different angles. Each new scan showed the exact same patterns. Most of the original research team has gone quiet on social media, and their planned scientific paper mysteriously disappeared before publication. The mysterious radio emissions that NASA can't explain. For years, NASA has detected weak radio signals coming from the moon. These were always dismissed as background interference or equipment issues, until now. New highly sensitive instruments on the latest lunar orbiter picked up something impossible to ignore: structured radio pulses emerging from the exact location of those strange density readings. The signals follow patterns that scientists can't attribute to known natural phenomena. They're not random static, solar interference, or instrument error. They repeat at regular intervals that match no known cosmic or geological cycle. What's really got people talking is how these radio bursts intensified dramatically just before Kaku's press conference appearance. Recording equipment on the lunar orbiter captured a 30-second transmission that contained what analysts call non-random sequencing, patterns that suggest information rather than natural noise. When this data crossed Kaku's desk, insiders say he immediately cancelled all appointments for the day and called an emergency meeting with several colleagues who specialize in signal processing. The radio emissions share frequency characteristics with nothing in NASA's extensive database of known signals. Even more bizarrely, the strength of these transmissions seems to fluctuate in perfect synchronization with Earth's position relative to the Moon, reaching peak intensity during lunar eclipses. One researcher who spoke anonymously claimed, "The signal strength has been steadily increasing over the past 3 months, which would rule out any echo effect from previous human missions." NASA has installed specialized equipment at 3 major radio telescopes specifically to monitor these emissions, and rumor has it that the data is being processed in real time by advanced pattern recognition software typically used to search for extraterrestrial intelligence signals. For years, NASA picked up weak radio noise from the moon, always brushing it off as equipment problems or background space static. That changed when their newest moon satellite picked up something impossible to ignore. The satellite detected clear radio pulses coming from the exact same spots as those strange dense areas under the lunar surface. These aren't random bursts of static. They follow patterns that repeat every few hours with perfect timing. Scientists have checked every known natural cause and nothing matches. What really raised alarms was how these signals suddenly got stronger right before Kaku's strange press conference. The satellite recorded a 30-second burst that contained what looks like an organized sequence, more like information than random noise. Even weirder, the signals get strongest during lunar eclipses, when Earth blocks sunlight from hitting the moon. They also seem to be getting stronger each month, growing about 4% more powerful with each recording. NASA quietly installed special listening equipment at 3 major Earth radio telescopes to track these emissions around the clock. The patterns don't match any known human broadcast, natural space phenomenon, or equipment interference. Scientists working on this data must now sign special papers, promising not to share what they're hearing. The secret lunar mining plans that were suddenly accelerated. Something strange happened after those density scans revealed whatever scared Kaku. Every major space agency abruptly revised their moon mission timelines, dramatically accelerating their plans. China, Russia, and the United States all suddenly prioritized landing near the South Pole's Shackleton crater, the exact location of those strange readings. The official explanation about water ice deposits doesn't add up, because we've known about lunar ice for decades. Why the urgency now? Government contractors specializing in advanced mining technology received massive funding increases overnight. Companies that manufacture specialized drilling equipment designed to function in vacuum environments saw their stock prices triple within a week. Most telling was how these agencies shifted from scientific missions to what they're carefully calling resource acquisition operations. The payload manifests for these expeditions were classified immediately after Kaku's press conference. Industry insiders note that the equipment being prepared isn't consistent with ice harvesting or typical geological sampling. Instead, the technology matches what would be needed for deep extraction of extremely dense materials. One engineer who designs space mining equipment revealed that his team was asked to modify their drills to penetrate material significantly denser than any naturally occurring lunar substance. The revised drilling systems are being built to withstand temperatures and pressures far beyond what would be expected for normal lunar operations. Perhaps most concerning is how quickly international cooperation materialized around these missions, with countries that normally compete now freely sharing technology and resources specifically for this lunar endeavor. Something strange happened right after those odd moon readings scared Kaku. Every major space agency suddenly changed their moon plans. China, Russia, and America all shifted focus to that exact spot near the Shackleton crater where those weird density patterns were found. The public story about mining moon ice for water makes little sense. We've known about moon ice for decades without this kind of rush. What's really telling is how companies that make special drilling equipment saw their stock prices triple almost overnight. The mysterious lunar seismic activity that started recently. The moon has always been considered geologically dead, until 6 months ago. Suddenly, sensitive instruments began detecting minor tremors beneath the lunar surface, centered exactly where those density anomalies are located. These aren't normal moonquakes. Regular lunar seismic activity follows patterns related to Earth's gravitational pull or meteor impacts. These new vibrations follow precise timing sequences that defy natural explanation, occurring exactly every 13.7 hours, regardless of the moon's position. When seismologists analyzed the wave patterns, they discovered something even more disturbing. The tremors originate at exactly the same depth as those strange density readings, about 18 miles below the surface. The vibrations create perfect concentric circles, as if something is moving or activating in a controlled manner. After these findings reached Kaku, he reportedly spent an entire night reviewing the data without breaks, requesting additional information multiple times. One seismic specialist who examined the readings commented that the patterns resemble artificial movement more than natural geological processes. The vibrations increased in frequency and strength in the weeks before Kaku's alarming press conference appearance. Most concerning to scientists was the discovery that the tremors seemed to respond to nearby lunar rover activity, intensifying whenever human technology approached certain coordinates. NASA quickly rerouted several automated missions away from the affected area without public explanation. The agency also upgraded all seismic monitoring equipment around lunar outposts and added new sensors specifically designed to track these unusual vibrations. The moon has always been thought of as dead rock. No earthquakes, no volcanoes, no movement inside. That changed 6 months ago when sensors picked up tiny shakes beneath the lunar surface. These weren't normal moon rumbles. Scientists know about typical moon shakes. They happen when Earth's gravity pulls on the moon or when space rocks hit the surface. These new vibrations are completely different. They happen exactly every 13.7 hours, no matter where the moon is in its orbit around Earth. The strangest part? These shakes make perfect circle patterns like ripples in water, and they start exactly 18 miles deep, right where those super-dense objects were found. It's as if something down there is moving or turning on and off on a schedule. After finding these patterns, moon experts noticed something even more worrying. The vibrations seem to react when our moon rovers get close to certain spots. The shakes get stronger when human machines approach specific areas, almost like something is responding to our presence. Without explaining why, NASA quickly changed the paths of several moon robots to keep them away from these active zones. They also rushed to add more shake-detecting equipment around their moon bases, focusing on tracking whatever is causing these perfectly timed vibrations. The satellite images NASA doesn't want you to see. High-resolution photographs taken by military satellites have captured something unusual on the lunar surface near those density anomalies. While NASA's public images show nothing out of the ordinary, leaked photos from more advanced imaging systems tell a different story. These classified images reveal subtle but distinct changes to the lunar landscape, occurring over just weeks. Something that should be impossible without active intervention. The photos show perfectly straight lines appearing in the lunar soil, geometric patterns that couldn't possibly form naturally. These features appear and disappear between imaging sessions, suggesting ongoing activity. The changes are subtle enough to miss with standard equipment, but unmistakable under enhanced analysis. After reviewing these images, Kaku reportedly requested immediate access to raw imaging data rather than processed photographs, suggesting he suspected image manipulation. The most compelling evidence comes from thermal imaging, which detected heat signatures forming perfect geometric patterns beneath the surface. These heat distributions follow the exact outline of those strange density readings, forming shapes that analysts describe as architecturally precise. What makes this truly bizarre is how these patterns shift position in perfect unison, maintaining their internal geometry while moving as a single unit. When presented with these findings, 3 separate imaging experts independently concluded that the patterns showed signs of artificial design rather than natural formation. Shortly after Kaku viewed these images, all lunar photography from military satellites was reclassified at the highest security level, with access restricted even to most NASA personnel. Amateur astronomers with powerful telescopes reported unusual glints of light from this region before being contacted by government officials requesting they cease observation. The pictures NASA shows the public of the moon look normal, just gray dust, rocks, and craters. But leaked photos from military satellites tell a very different story. These high-powered cameras have caught something impossible happening on the lunar surface, near those strange density spots. The classified images show perfectly straight lines appearing in the moon dust, lines that form exact geometric shapes, like triangles and hexagons. What makes this truly weird is that these patterns appear and disappear between photo sessions just weeks apart. On a dead world with no wind or water, nothing should be moving the dust around at all. The most convincing evidence comes from heat-sensing cameras. These show warm spots beneath the surface that form the exact same patterns as those density readings. The heat forms perfect shapes that slowly move as a single unit while keeping their precise internal patterns. After Kaku saw these images, all military satellite photos of the moon were suddenly classified at the highest security level. Even most NASA scientists can't see them anymore. Amateur sky watchers with powerful home telescopes reported seeing unusual flashes of light from this region before government officials contacted them with requests to stop watching that part of the moon. The sudden interest from military and intelligence agencies. Something changed dramatically in how governments view the moon after those strange readings came in. Intelligence agencies and military branches that previously had minimal involvement in space exploration suddenly diverted enormous resources toward lunar research. High-ranking military officials with no background in astronomy or planetary science began attending closed-door meetings with top lunar researchers. The Pentagon established a new department specifically focused on lunar security operations, with classified objectives and unprecedented funding. Career military officials with combat experience were reassigned to NASA's Lunar Division overnight. Defense contractors received massive contracts to develop technologies specifically designed for lunar deployment, with unusual specifications suggesting defensive capabilities. Multiple countries simultaneously expanded their military space commands, all with a specific focus on lunar operations. Intelligence agencies dramatically increased recruitment of scientists specializing in exotic materials and non-terrestrial environments. Kaku's unusual behavior started immediately after a private meeting with officials from these newly formed lunar security groups. His public statements became carefully measured, and colleagues noted his reluctance to discuss the moon at all. Most telling was the sudden installation of military-grade communications equipment at major observatories tracking the moon, with armed guards restricting access to certain data. The official explanation about protecting scientific assets makes little sense given the massive security presence. Former intelligence officers have noted that this level of military interest typically indicates a potential threat or strategic resource of extraordinary value. Something dramatic changed in how governments view the moon after those strange readings appeared. Military and spy agencies that never cared much about space rocks suddenly became extremely interested in our nearest neighbor. The Pentagon quietly formed a new department called Lunar Security Operations, with a massive budget and unclear goals. High-ranking military officers with combat backgrounds but zero space experience were transferred to work alongside NASA's moon scientists overnight. Defense companies received billions in rush contracts to build technologies specifically for moon use. The requirements list for this equipment suggests defensive capabilities rather than scientific tools. Multiple countries expanded their space military programs at exactly the same time, all focusing on the moon. Intelligence agencies started aggressively hiring scientists who study unusual materials and space environments. The strange behavior of lunar samples recently returned to Earth. The lunar soil samples recently returned by automated missions have scientists baffled. These samples, collected near those density anomalies, behave unlike any material previously studied. Laboratory tests reveal properties that defy our understanding of physics. The particles maintain perfect temperature regardless of external conditions, neither absorbing nor releasing heat as natural materials should. When exposed to certain frequencies of light, the samples emit electromagnetic pulses that disrupt nearby electronic equipment. Most concerning is how the material seems to rearrange its molecular structure when not under direct observation, with researchers documenting significant changes after leaving samples unmonitored overnight. Multiple testing facilities reported identical unusual behaviors, eliminating the possibility of contamination or equipment error. After examining these samples personally, Kaku immediately requested additional testing under strict protocols typically reserved for potentially hazardous substances. The scientific papers describing these anomalies were scheduled for publication, but mysteriously delayed for additional review, a process that normally takes weeks but has now stretched to months with no explanation. Researchers working with these samples have been required to sign unprecedented non-disclosure agreements, and several laboratories were suddenly closed for renovation after making preliminary discoveries. Most disturbing are reports that small quantities of the lunar material have disappeared from secure storage facilities, with security footage showing the samples apparently losing mass over time, despite being in sealed containers. Thanks for watching another episode. While you are still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more quality content.